Okay, good morning again. Good morning, radio listeners. Good morning to each and every one of you out there in Radio Land and all of you on the World Wide Web. Those of you who are following us on Facebook, welcome. Welcome again to another wonderful program. Your favorite program, FYI, brought to you by the St Eustatius Tourism Development
Great.
into our program today with STENAPA. We have some wonderful information for you from our partner, stakeholder partner, STENAPA.
Yes.
Before we do that, we're going to do a little housekeeping, of course. Just want to say thank everyone for a wonderful Easter weekend. Things was wonderfully done. Things was pretty much everybody had a good time. But at the end of the day, everyone stayed safe. Also, the Easter hunt that took place, organized by Missionary Carty, that too went off well. The participants was contented with their winning prizes, and pretty much the sponsors did come through. So each and every one of you who were sponsors, again, we thank you. I have here a list, so I will just name them off real quick. Util NV, Mansion Hardware, D&M Enterprises, St Eustatius Business Association, St Eustatius Tourism Development Foundation, Cool Corner Anyway, Naraka NV, Other Brother Construction, Selby's, Barbecue Hut, Frankie's, Bar and Restaurant, Made in Statia, Rivers Enterprises, Paper Corner, Pizza Life, Super Burger, Vitality Spa, Boardwalk Cafe, Old Gin House, Mobile Delicious, Empress Locks, and also it goes out to the volunteers that assisted during this session. You have Adriana Brando, Alex Osborne. You also have Alinan Beat. I see there. I'm not sure if that's right. I said that right. Adonis Sanchez and Hezron Rivers. Special judges, Misha Spana, Robertson Hercule, and also Walter Hellebrand. Special mention to Malu Brown. So again, these are the folks that assisted during the Easter hunt weekend. And again, thank you all for being a part of this. All right. Again, welcome to each and every one of you guys from STENAPA. You can say good morning to the folks. Now, before I go any further, one more thing. My colleague, my co-host, John Rose, as you all know, he also wears a second cap, which is he's also also works at CTO. And unfortunately, today he has one of those urgent sessions where he has to cover. He's also the communication specialist at the CTO, the Caribbean Tourism Organization. So he has to cover pretty much one of those online sessions. So today he would not be joining us, but nevertheless, we will have a good time and we get some great information from STENAPA. Please introduce yourself. Actually, we have two-fold program today for you, right? From STENAPA?
Yes. Thank you so much for having us. We have two topics, one marine, one terrestrial. We'll start with marine. My name is Achsah Mitchell, the Education and Outreach Officer at STENAPA, and I have here Marit Pistor, or one of our marine park rangers. So we're going to start with marine, where we are sharing our nature awareness campaign, which you've probably noticed our posters and flyers and even tabletop cards around town from last year, March. So we started with red-billed tropic birds in March, and the campaign itself was put on hold, at least postponed for a while because of COVID measures that went in place. Then we started with the sea turtle flights, which we had night patrols, we had nest excavation, so the community got to come out, and now we're looking at whales. So we started in January, February, and now we're kind of wrapping up the season, but we're basically talking to you about what we have been seeing this season, this campaign.
Okay. For those of you who still would like questions to come in and comments, please, you can always look at us also on our Facebook page, the Station Tourism Facebook page as well. So if you do have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to share with us. All right. Well, today we're going to talk again. The first half of the program is about whale. What can we expect when we talk about whale? I want to get into a few real ticklish situation that I saw. And actually, Netflix has a very intense movie out right now. Actually, it's a documentary, and there are some things happening during that particular documentary. But before I go into that, why is it so important to have whales? Why are we talking about whales? What is the purpose of whales anyway?
Yeah, so the benefits of whales for us is they help mixing the water column. So they eat krill and they eat in the deep waters, but they fertilize the shallow waters, and that's the nutrient poor waters. And these nutrients are then used by plankton, which is then that feeds the rest of the food chain basically.
Okay. While looking at the same movie that I'm referring to, you see that there is like a sort of diagram that they have. You have that comes down, and then it says, if you get rid of the big fish, the smaller fish, with the one just below that would eat everything, and then that one will disappear, and then the next one will disappear, and then the next. So basically, every single one of these fish, if I'm understanding, has, well, a whale is what, a mammal, what do you call it, a mammal?
Yes, marine mammals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So because they, someone told me they are not fish, they're mammals. So I want to make sure they have it correctly. But each and every one of these things has a purpose in the water. There are so many different whales. Do you all have pretty much any idea what type of whale we can? Because over the past few weeks, I've heard of whale watching around the waters here in Station. What type of whale can we, as locals, look forward to seeing around here?
So we have different species around here, but near the island, it's mainly humpback whales because it's shallower. And for instance, I know there's sperm whales around the islands as well, but they usually are in waters about 500 meters deep at least, and we don't have that nearby station. So what you'll see from the land for sure will be mainly humpback whales or other marine mammals like dolphins, for instance.
Okay. In the waters of Statia, we talk about well, the type of whale that we can expect to see around. Is it seasonal, or how does this work? When can we expect to see these whales? Is it all year round?
So good question. We are campaigning now because this is when we expect to see them, and this is the reason for that is.
Oh yeah, the whales, they migrate. And they pass through this area.
Can you guys speak a little closer to the mic, like turn up your
yes.
mic?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Kind of far.
So they pass through this island or this area from about January to May, and they usually are in the north because that is where they feed on krill, which is tiny crustaceans or shrimp-like creatures, and the krill live in high numbers in the north. And they travel south to grow their populations, for instance, to mate and to have their offspring. So right now, so between January and May is when we have the whales in our water, or the humpback whales.
Humpback whales in our water. Well, from a tourism perspective, of course, you know, that's basically why we are having this particular conversation. From a tourism perspective, what would you say to us as a tourism organization, or how can we assist as a tourism organization to bring more attraction, bring more attention, and not just for the tourists, as you guys, but also for the locals? Because I personally would love to see one of those, up close and personal. Well, not too close, of course, but up close and personally enough to see, the beauty of one of these animals, or one of these mammals that we spoke about. How can we assist in that?
As you mentioned, from a tourism perspective, there are several activities that you can do at the same time. I'll highlight diving and visiting the garden and our historic sites. So there are 3 spots that you can visit as a tourist and see these whales. So if you go diving, chances of hearing them are very high. Marit will tell you about that in a bit. and you can, perchance, see a whale diving in the distance. You can also see them from you're on the boat. So the dive has finished or you're heading to your dive sites, you may see activities such as blows, where they come up for air and they're blowing away the water from their blowholes so they can get that air. What you see is a spurt of water in the distance, and then you know, okay, that's a whale. And usually you see a few more. If it's not that, you see the fluke, their tail at the back when they're about to dive, or they're hitting it on the water. And they have their side fins as well that could flap. So you see all this activity. And a really fun one is when they jump out of the water, and you call it a breach. So you can be looking for all of this while diving or going out for a dive. There are two spots on land which I'd like to highlight, which is the Miriam Smith Botanical Garden. There's a lookout point where you can see St. Kitts, and tend to be able to see the whales between us and St. Kitts very well from there. And Fort the Wind White Wall. So you can sit amongst the canyons, have a look out, see St. Kitts as well, and look for this activity. So you can come to the island, enjoy our culture, enjoy our nature, and find this well. So to work with us, I guess to share, this is a nature awareness campaign. So promote all of these nature activities and come to appreciate the whales that visit and find out how we can protect them.
Anything from you, Marit?
Yeah, so like Achsah said, when you're diving, you can hear them a lot. Since mid-January, I guess we've been hearing them a lot. So because we dive very often, about 4 days a week, and we've been hearing them since mid-January, but then since March, we basically heard them every day that we were in the waters. For instance, yesterday we were diving on the east side of Eustatius, and we could hear them very clearly. So that's an amazing experience already. We also have 2 hydrophones. So we have our handheld hydrophone where we just lower it down when we're mooring on with the boat, and we listen to them and we record it. And we also have a stationary hydrophone which stays in the water for about 40 days. And then it takes a recording every 5 minutes for a minute long. And then later we collect the data and we listen to what kind of marine mammals we've been hearing.
I have two quick questions actually based on what you just said. First thing, how safe is it to be in the vicinity of these of a whale as we
Yeah, so we highly discourage to go in the water with marine mammals. Not per se because they will harm you on purpose, but if there's calves with them, the mothers can be very protective, and the calves as well can see you as something
You
fun.
said a calf?
The calf, yes. So the babies.
Okay, so they're called calf. Well, there you go.
Yeah. The calves can also see you as something fun to play with, and that can be a big problem because one hit with their tail and you will be knocked out. So we highly discourage you going in the water with them. And I mean, seeing them from any distance is a great experience.
Okay. The second part of the question that I had was, you said that you have been hearing them since mid-January, and it's possible to dive and then you hear these. But for persons who are not divers, for example, a person who are not in the water regularly, as you are, you said 4 times a week you are in the water. You're almost a mammal yourself, I guess. But
A marine mammal.
Yeah.
But for a person who would love to see one of these, fabulous animals, if I may call it that, would it be possible then for, is there anywhere that you may have a certain sense of invite or a particular day that person can approach STENAPA, or you have a report out there that says on a certain day, anyone who wants to hear the whale or see the whales, please call us, or we are heading out to see. Is there anything in the making on that?
I have pondered that a bit, and when we first thought about what time they would pass by, we actually came up with the idea that once there's light, once you can look out to sea, that is when you see the whales. So to arrange an actual event is difficult. What I've done so far is look out as much as possible. We'll have our rangers look out, and as soon as we spot them, get the word out. And that worked one Saturday. We're at Whitewall, and a crowd came by. Anybody who came by was also saw that, hey, there are whales, have a look as well. So what we've done with the campaign is to encourage you to have a look around you, see what's there. And in this particular season, look out to see, look out for this activity. When you do spot the whale now, you would have to coordinate with us to report the sighting. And Marit will tell you about that.
Yeah, so if you see them, please let us know, because we want to get as much data as possible. And so either you can reach out to us and we can ask you the questions that we need, or you can download the form that we have on for sightings, or you can come by the office and pick up one of those forms. And we need practical information, like when did you see them, the time, the dates, where were you watching from. The sea conditions is also interesting, but we are very interested in the amount of whales that you saw, their behavior. So like Achsah said, like the blow or the fluke, or if they breached, the direction they went into. And if you have any pictures or videos, we would really like to get those as well. And this campaigning has been going great, because in the previous years we had between 2 and 5 sightings recorded per season, and this year we already had 12. So that's
Okay.
great.
That's real good. So they
know where the whales are, just have a look.
Yeah.
If you
Okay,
want to
so
know where
pretty
the whales
much-
pass by, if you want to know when to look, it is whenever you can look out to sea and get to a spot. That is when you need to look.
Okay, but pretty much there, I think we need to get some sort of bullhorn or something like that, and we go around. The whales are coming. The whales are coming. So
They're here. That's a good
Okay.
point, because one of our rangers was on the Banzinga Trail and saw a whale breaching and couldn't get the word out because the connection wasn't there. So yes, a blowhorn would make sense.
Maybe that's the direction we need to go. All right. Remember I said that I saw this movie, and within this movie they were talking about whaling. Whaling still exists. Do you all have, before I go into what I saw and ask your take on it, growing up as a child, you heard about your grandfather, your great-grandfather went whaling. What does that entail? What do you all have any information, or do you have any comments on whaling? What does whaling mean?
All right, a few responses to that, but I'll try and start with the purpose probably. From what I understood, whaling industry focused on getting fat to burn in the lamps, basically oil. It's pre-fossil fuels, so they wanted that to heat the homes like their way. So at the time, that was a resource for them, and there were plenty whales. So it's almost as if done sustainably could have maybe continued. However, it was a long time ago. It was not done sustainably, and whales would have been dying out, or at least the populations being endangered. And it's no longer something that you can consider a resource. And we no longer need the fat either. So currently, if you're going into whaling and their numbers are low, they're trying to repopulate, trying to, like I said, it benefits the ocean, it benefits us, that whaling doesn't make sense anymore. So, and on Station Waters, Bonaire, and I think somewhere else, we have the Yarari Marine Mammal and Shark Sanctuary. So they are protected here. No whaling should occur in this sanctuary and wherever else active protection occurs.
Okay, so no whaling allowed. All right. Now, this, however, still takes place around the world. There are certain countries in the world that still go into the whaling business. And based on the movie, what I saw, it's very specific. It's very direct. It's in your face how they go to capturing these whales and what they do. I mean, at the end of the day, the water is beautifully blue, and then before you know it, it's like the Red Sea. It's pretty red. So why do people still do this? Is it as you said? Is it to control, or is it something a way of life? Is it a means of getting your economy going? What is it all about?
Where was I going to start?
Well, start from the top.
Yeah, I was something else I was thinking about. Okay, if you are thinking about continuing your culture, we used to do this, we should be able to do it. Like you said, my grandparents used to whale, why can't I? But the conditions are different, and we understand more. We understand how everything's connected. The same whale that's protected here in St Eustatius is the same whale that migrates to these regions. So we can do our part, but we need, what's happening was that there was a treaty amongst all international countries, bodies, that we agree, okay, we will work together to protect this migratory species. And those who are whaling now are deciding to, I would say, sort of betray that treaty and go back on their behaviors. Now, if they are prioritizing this need to either get money or to continue their culture, it undermines the population that they want to build this economy on, this activity on. They may be putting other needs in front. So for instance, the dolphins that they captured. If they're not looking at the larger picture, they're not looking at what really sustains their fishing industry that they want to use, they may go about it the wrong way, which they seem to be doing. So if you need to be able to understand that not everything you want to do is going to be to your own benefit. So I'm not entirely sure. I didn't speak to them directly as to why they're doing it, but I do believe they don't understand the repercussions of what they're doing.
Marit, anything on that?
Yeah, I agree with what Achsah is saying, and
Can you speak a little louder, please?
sorry, I was just saying I agree with what Achsah is saying, and I can get into it, but I'll get emotional, so I will not do that. No, because I don't understand it, and it should not be happening. No, absolutely not. Because they're like humpback whales, they are absolutely no threat to us, and we are a very big threat to them. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. Well, you mentioned some. You said in the earlier stages, you said planktons, and you made me go back and think about SpongeBob type of story. And if I'm looking at it correctly, if these animals eat this type of fish, which again, it goes back into cleaning, I would like to hear more about the purpose that the whales serve in the ocean, instead of, because I also read somewhere that they have to come up at least 20 minutes. After 20 minutes on the water, they have to come up, they have to surface. So they pretty much live like people. We cannot stay on the water longer than what, 5 minutes, maybe 6, depending on who you are.
I'd love to hold my breath for that long. So.
Yeah.
I did some research, and I saw something somewhere in the World Book of Guinness Records that someone held their breath for at least 5 minutes or something like that. But okay, he probably had gills somewhere. I'm not sure. But either which way,
divers can do that.
Yeah. Okay. But either which way, what I'm saying is, if they have to come out for breath, so does human beings. So what is the correlation between them and us? Are there any sort of familiarization in that aspect?
Okay. Two topics, two answers. Every organism on Earth has their own intrinsic value, which means if there were no humans, they have value. If they're the only species on Earth, they have value. So they have a right to live reproduce, increase their population, and find food. Everything for that particular organism should continue within the balance of nature. Second answer is they're marine mammals. We're mammals. So like us, they're warm-blooded. They breathe air, like you said, so they have lungs. They need to come up to get oxygen from the air, unlike fish who would have gills or something else that can extract it out of the water. They give birth to live young. So if you can relate to us as humans having babies, it's the same thing. They carry that child to term, give birth, suckle it, take care of it. Like they basically have to fatten up this calf, get it used to diving, getting it used to being a whale, and then take that trek up north. So they're invested in this calf. They're invested in all that they do. So they're important to themselves, and they're important to us because we are part of this ecosystem that they are also a part of. So if we depend on healthy ocean and they contribute to that, they are important for all that we use ocean for, all the resources, the fisheries that we have, the tourism, the dive sites, it all works together.
Fantastic. Marit, you know I'm coming back at you, Marit. Come on.
Yeah. I'm usually in the water. Achsah does all the talking.
Exactly. So that's why I want to hear from you. You're familiar with these guys.
So yeah, like Achsah said, they have the live youngs, and when they're still calves, they're about 3-4 meters. The males, for instance, are around 13-14 meters, and the females are the largest. They are like 15-16 meters, which, by the way, you can see all the sizes come around Statia. But like Achsah said, with the calves, the mom and she comes around with the calves. So when they're babies, you can see them really swimming alongside with their mother, and that's really cute to see. Yeah, and they live. The moms also swim with it's the mother and the kids that swim together, and the males usually swim around looking to reproduce. So yeah, I want to say like humans almost, but no, but it's the females with the calves is.
She's very protective, just like humans,
Yes.
like you said.
Yeah.
Just like a mother will protect her child.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. Fantastic. Well, as I said earlier, we have a twofold program, and I don't want to do. As I said, Achsah, I can ask him a million questions within an hour, but you know, you all right. So we're gonna switch over to the reforestation. But before we do that, I would like to know if you have any other message you would like to give to the folks out there who are listening regarding whale and whaling.
So I would like to say that if you see any other reportings, if you see any other marine mammals or turtles, we are very interested in that. So if you see dolphins, for instance, please let us know as well. We would like to hear the same stuff that we had on the sighting forms for the whales. But again, if you see them, just let us know and we will ask you for the information. Also, if you ever see a stranding of marine mammals or any other species, please let us know, because our staff is trained to rescue them. And if they didn't survive, we would like to have the data and find out what happened. And yeah, and the turtles, maybe you want to continue on that. Okay.
Okay, so the nature awareness campaign will continue after the whales into the turtle season, because it will be beginning soon. So we ask for you to start looking out for turtles nesting on the beach and let us know, so we can start protecting their nests and collecting data. Also, you mentioned the sounds that we hear when we dive. We have a recording. It is pinned to the top of our Facebook page. So go to our website. STENAPA Statia is the username, so facebook.com/STENAPA Statia, and listen to a recording of some beautiful recording of whales, about 3 minutes.